Hello and welcome to a very quick video I'm going to show you today, which is going to explain a little bit about movement patterns and why we rate moving so much more important than just trying to add muscle, and especially in the way that it's traditionally known, which is very much based on the bodybuilding world's way of trying to do strength training. So functional movement compared to strength training, very much the emphasis is on movement and nervous system development. Posture is always a high priority. Movements must be performed standing up, and you're endlessly trying to upgrade your body's complex computer software program, which, as you'll see, bodybuilding movements do not do that. So machine training, and really I could classify nearly every bodybuilding movement as in this area, although some of the movements that are used are not too bad, with free weights and stuff are okay, but still an isolation emphasis is not great. So machine training is the worst you can use, because coordination, well, you don't need any. Stability, you don't need any. The machine does it for you. Spinal stability, you don't need any. The machines, some of them even have seat belts just in case you accidentally tried to use your core. Multi-joint, some machines are compound exercise, so they meaning they have more than one joint in play. However, I wouldn't classify that as integrated, because if I'm doing a chest press and I'm seated, I still don't need the use of my legs. If I was paralyzed from the waist down, I still could do that movement really, really well. I don't need it. Even the bench press, I don't need my legs for it, which is not how we move. It's not a true indication of your strength. If you can't stabilize your legs in a real world, you wouldn't be able to push that sort of load that you can do lying on your back. And I've never met anyone injured lying on their back, but I've met many people injured standing up. Secondly, machines poorly mimic real life movement. So as I just mentioned, when we're nearly in every sport I can think of is done standing up, besides say maybe rowing and swimming, cycling. Um, these things don't really help you with movements that you need to do, like lifting things off the ground, um, performing jobs in the garden, at work, playing with the kids. These are things that people for these days are seriously hurt from. When we use leg movements, and if I'm going to use the leg press here, rarely will we lie on our back and push something away from us. When we do leg movements, we do what is called closed chain, meaning that the ground is what we're pushing away from. So the ground you can't move, it's immovable. We're the person moving away. Where the leg press is using the complete opposite dynamic, where you're the thing that's immovable and you're pushing the object away. Now you think, oh, what's the difference? That's a big difference in the way that the brain coordinates the movements and understands what needs to move and what needs to be stabilized. So you can see why these machines that are based to make on just with the pure emphasis of trying to make you look good. They don't care if you feel good or you blow yourself out. It's just how you look. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather feel good than look good. And usually if I feel good, I do look good. So, all right. And another thing with leg press, people can lift 2 to 3 times more their own body weight. Yet if I ask them to do a squat, they struggle to lift just their own body weight. So basically, it gives them a real false sense of their strength. So, and it sets them up for future injury, because their stabilizers have been taught to shut down because they're using the machine to do all the work for them. And then when they come and do something in the real world, they think, oh, my legs are strong, and they're not. They are suddenly now put in a position where injury will occur. And another thing with you can see in the picture of this leg press here, look at the angle of this girl's legs. She's almost like, knees are almost touching her chest. Like, she would imagine if she was doing a squat like that, she'd blow her back out. Now, there's a very good chance she'll do this as well. This is why people on a leg press, this is a great way to get a herniated disc or bulging disc, slip disc, whatever you want to call it. They're all the same thing. If you can't squat that low, you shouldn't be using a piece of machine to help you get there. There's a reason you can't get that low, because you would just crush your back. Your hips aren't able to go through that full range like that, and the muscles that are pushing that weight cannot either. All right, so this is just one piece of machine. We could spend all day going through them all, and I could prove to you over and over and over again just how bad these things are. All right, functional movement, on the other hand, coordination extremely high level activity in the brain to coordinate the movement, sync the upper and lower body together. Stability, high level of stabilization needed. Breathing is crucial. Everything must be perfectly synced and in order, or else something will go wrong, or you just can't do the exercise. Balance. You need to be perfectly stable before you can try and move, because it's your job to work out how to do it. There's no machine doing it for you. Multi-joint, mimicking real life movement, absolutely. All these exercises are multi-joint, have a high carryover to real life movements. So the example, this deadlift here, is very much like lifting something up off the ground, and it requires all of the things that I've just spoken to you there at a very, very high level. When we move in highly coordinated movements, usually we use things that are opposite side of the body, and they're usually done all in one sequence. Hence, throwing a ball, even walking, running, you would move your left leg in combination with your right hand, and vice versa. So rarely do we need to do movements in a parallel stance or with two arms at once. It's very inefficient way of moving, because you can't get any rotation, or which the rotation of the body is where you get like a spring sort of effect through the core. So most people train the core incorrectly by treating it like a bicep curl, when really it doesn't work that way. It's sort of like more like a spring mechanism. So and again, most of the injuries occur in a standing position. Most sports are played in a standing position, so meaning we must train in a standing position. So the picture of this guy cutting wood and lifting timber, you can see he's going to move into like a lunging stance. He's got a left hand out in front of him like a lever. He's going to need like a twisting movement to create the action of lifting it. You know, is he sitting down to do this? No, he's not. All right, so this is just crazy. So if he was to train rehabilitation on a sitting down or lying down program, say like Pilates, how will that possibly help him when he has to learn how to do this for work? It just doesn't carry over at all. The key from all of this is we don't move like robots. Building muscle is not the same as building function and movement skills. Machine training is basically dumbing you down. It is making your brain and your complex nervous system dumb. It's making it slower. A bit like downgrading your computer to some program from 1985. All right. Remember that muscle is added faster when there's more complexity in nervous system involvement. So don't train like a robot. Train your brain. The functional movement skills, functional movements require skills such as balance, agility, speed, endurance, flexibility, power, coordination. The one that's missing from that is strength, and strength is needed in combination with nearly all of them. But strength will happen when you're using all of these skills in combination with it. The more of the skills you incorporate, the better you move and the stronger you become, and the more athletic and sports-like it begins to look like. All right. Think movement, not muscle. So your key movement patterns are lunging, squat, bending, twisting, pushing, pulling, and gait, which is running or walking. If you can do all of these things incorporated with all of the abilities, you're a supreme athlete. Trust me, it's a very complex, and there is exercises that do these things with all of them at once. So basically try to think of movement skills as like upgrading software to your computer. So now you're upgrading all these new skills, complex movements, new abilities that you've didn't have before that you do now have. Now you're becoming stronger because you're becoming more efficient, you're becoming more skilled. Basically, you don't need as much strength anyway, because you're so efficient. You've become so good at doing everything. You become faster, you become more balanced, which then enables you to become fitter and healthier more than you've ever become. Chance of injury is minimal because you've like got this supercharged computer that knows how to do everything. It's fine-tuned, and your ability to withstand anything is incredible. And this is true for people of all ages. So usually you see old people sitting on machines because their balance sucks. Coordination is terrible. They're just so stiff. They just look like they're a disaster waiting to happen. Putting them on a machine would be making them worse. That is the worst thing you could do for someone like that. That what they need is to learn in a very carefully designed way how to get their balance and their coordination back. And they can only do that by using functional movement patterns. You need a sensible approach. You can't just go straight to the hardest thing. But if you can work out how to take people through that stage, which is exactly what we do in our programs, miraculous results are achieved regardless of the age. I've seen people above 80 years of age do incredible things. All right, so I hope this helps you to understand the danger of machine training. Um, if you want more information, go to our website, www.noregretspt.com.au, um, and you can get some more information there. Now I'm going to leave you with this little checklist. Basically, try and work your brain and your nervous system. Is it highly coordinated? Are you using exercises that are contralateral, e.g. single arm cable press? Posture stability, or is there an emphasis on that in your program? It must be. Deadlift requires minimal balance to the lunge, as the lunge needs a lot of balance, but there's more core spinal stability needed in the deadlift. So, and hence the leg press needs neither. Standing position, which we've really reiterated that to you, is it performed standing up? Are you using something in the upper body in combination with the legs? So there's a picture of me here doing a single arm cable press with a weight shift. So my legs are doing the initiating the movement, pushing me forward, and my arm coordinates straight after basically like punching or throwing something. And then as you get better, add more skills as progressions and try to so in this, there's an example of adding a BOSU for balance, a single arm shoulder press for strength with a lunging stance, highly coordinated, and there's a lot of reps involved. Now it becomes endurance and fitness is required. So you can see how we're starting to really incorporate a lot more things.